All right, very good. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our Facebook Live session. I'm here again with my people. I have Rennie Orr. Rennie, say hi.
Hi.
Hi, who's again managed to navigate our technology challenges. At least they were challenging for me, but not for her. And also Stacy Gunter. Hi, Stace.
Hi.
Connectivity keeps everybody happy. And I am here today. We are here today with Joelle Permutt. How did I do on that name? Close?
Yeah, close. Good. Pretty good.
Very, very good. I want everyone to know, first of all, that that is a real background. That is not one of these blue screens. It's a real background behind me. And as long as the internet access holds, I'll continue to go from here. So as you know, every week we bring on an entrepreneur, or an entrepreneur, we is our kind of term for them, people that are motivated and driven and informed by deeper passion, higher wisdom, and have succeeded in bringing that out into the world in ways that generate profits and make an impact in the marketplace. And Stacy has been our, I don't know what our procurer recently. We did great. We had a great session last week with Josh, and she also brought Joelle on today. So before we find out about this remarkable person that's got her fingers in so many things and figure out what the unified field theory is that holds them all together, Stacy, why don't you talk a little about Joelle, how you met her, and her bona fides here?
Yeah. I'm so honored to know Joelle. I mean, she is a constant inspiration to me. We have a depth to our friendship and camaraderie that I'm honored by. Again and again, we've seen people through life. We've seen people through death. We've seen people through divorce and staying married and raising our children together from when they were little breastfeeding babies at La Leche League, homeschooling them, to creating businesses and thriving as women and as adults. And yeah, we've gotten to do some good stuff together. We've led a retreat together, which was amazing, with Rennie. And Joelle is a powerhouse. And she does it with a level of like approachability and humility that's just also really attractive. So yeah, I was joking earlier, Joelle, that you have all the CH connections, like China, Chicago, Chapel Hill, like that's your vibe. You just want to live in places with CHs for some reason. You can tell us why. Anyways, so yeah, creative businesses all over. She and her husband, Chris, another CH, have created a school, the Accelerator School, which is amazing for soccer kids who get to play in, Uruguay with like amazing professionals. Beautycounter, which is, it sounds like it's about makeup, and she will blow your mind in telling you that it's not. It's about so much more than that. And the sunglasses, like, I mean, you became a yoga like instructor, like you've done so many good things. And I know we've done really cool stuff in our homeschool community as well. So I'm excited to share you with the world and with our entrepreneurs and get them excited and motivated to see how successful you can be with everything that you balance so gracefully. So thank you for being here, my friend.
Wow. How was that?
Thank you.
That was pretty good, huh?
That was wonderful. Really amazing.
That, and you could chop that up into little social media bites and put it to your use.
Yeah, I have to just take a moment and process all of that, because it's lovely to hear your life, given back to you from someone else's perspective. It's not something you get to do every day. I mean, every day you live your life with your own lens, right? And it's hard to see. I mean, I'm challenged by my husband and by my kids. And anyway, it's lovely to have that experience. I just watched Social Dilemma. Has anybody watched that? I just want to kind of get that out open as well. Has anybody heard of or watched Social Dilemma?
Oh, no.
It's a show
I've
on Netflix.
heard of it. I still haven't watched it.
Okay. It's troubling. It's troubling, and it's maybe somewhere I'd like to go with our conversation today, but no problem, no worries. Just wanted to double check and see if anybody had seen that. I have some thoughts on it.
Yeah, I need to watch it. Like, you're like the 10th person to recommend it to me, but I haven't.
Yeah, some deeper thoughts. So anyway, talking about social media, but yeah, so Stacy. I really appreciate that. So yeah, I'm ready to unpack that, and wherever you guys want to start.
Okay, so I'm going to start because you and I at the beginning of this gave each other what I like to call the secret Jewish handshake. So I understand what it's like to navigate. I mean, all of us navigate life with a certain amount of what we would call mishigas, or kind of like our own craziness, our own stuff. And I want to hear about your story. And I would like you to tell it as if you've never told it before, and just how you arrived at being this kind of Renaissance woman with everything that Stacy unpacked and reflected back at you. And yeah, I mean, just kind of tell it, and maybe tell it through the lens of how you've learned to deal with the part, because everybody here has parts of themselves that they'd rather not have, or they think are standing in the way, or they think they can get rid of to have full success. And I'd be interested, as you reflect on your journey, to talk a little bit about how you have come to terms with the fullness of yourself. How's that for an opening question, huh?
Yeah, so as I start, if I'm not going in the direction that, would be helpful, if you want to steer me, I'm completely open to that. I'm 53 years old, and, just to give you a basic idea of where I'm at, the lens that I have on right now, I'm in a place in life where, in general, my husband and I, when we approach business and decisions in life, we're looking at doing well and doing good at the same time. And, keeping that in mind, it is tricky at times, different forks in the road. We try to keep that going. So, yes, I was raised in basically the 70s, born in 1967, raised in the 70s, divorced parents, Jewish, but not really, not really super Jewish. Yeah. Yeah. So not, no, we were very, very reformed. My father was a scientist, and he believed that, he believed in science, and he believed that everybody should have the right, basic rights to worship however they wanted. And he was involved in building a temple, but he would take us on the high holidays, and he would make sure that we did not go to school on the high holidays, but because it was our right to exercise. And so I grew up with that. My mom later in her life became Orthodox. So I have now later in my life been exploring that, and also introducing my kids to that form of Judaism, because that is actually a place where I'm finding more meaning with it. So that is somewhere we could go as well. So I was raised in a way that was very like, you go to college, you get a job, and you have a family. And that was like my basic upbringing. I think I was told at some point, don't get married until you're 30, but otherwise, this is the basic prescription. But when I was, so let's see, I went into the fashion industry at 22 years old, just out of college, learning that I was trying to be a fashion designer, and designers come a dime a dozen. And I learned very quickly from my first boss that sales was really where you can make a difference, like differentiate yourself by making a difference to a company, through their bottom line. And so she taught me early on about how to be a salesperson, and in a wonderful way, not a way that I had ever imagined, because I think in my upbringing, sort of lawyers, doctors, academic pedigrees, sales was extremely foreign to me. Right. So yeah, we just didn't do that. That wasn't a part of my family. Although ironically, I mean, Jewish immigrants, they started out as peddlers and, selling things. So when we moved away from that. But early on, it was differentiate yourself and learn how to make sales for a company. So after a couple of years at that company, I ended up in Hong Kong, and I was learning the business. I set off to learn the business and learn how really to make a difference. I went to Hong Kong, I worked in Hong Kong, and that was a real challenge. And I studied Chinese and I learned about business there. Then I lived in Beijing, China for 8 years, and we started businesses. That was really when we got into the go-go days. That was when, let's see, 1995 through 2004. Yeah, it was like the internet boom, and we started internet businesses. We started, we started a direct sales company.
Joelle, let me interrupt. Let me just.
Yes, go ahead.
You're a natural born. Would it be safe to say you're a natural born entrepreneur? You were born an entrepreneur?
But I wasn't born an entrepreneur, so no.
Mm-hmm.
I do think though early on, like my sister, you know, she always sort of looks at me like, you know, like I was like the ugly duckling. Like, you know, first of all, I went into fashion, and that was foreign to all of us. And how was I going to make a living at that, you know, being an artist and being a fashion designer? And then I went to China and chasing some dreams. And so, yeah, you know, maybe it was in me somehow. I mean, I went because the guy I was dating was going to Taiwan to figure, he was half Chinese, he wanted to see if life got any better than Texas and Chapel Hill and being called ninja all his life. And so we went off in search of like this journey. So our lives sort of came together and we journeyed to see, I don't know, and we traveled around the world and we started businesses. And yeah, we were trying to see, does it get any better? And just how did things work? And we raised, you know, $30 million from, you know, from investors around the world to start our businesses in China. It was just crazy times.
Maybe a better
So I
question.
don't know. I definitely did not have fear. I don't know if I was a natural born entrepreneur.
Yeah, that's what I want to talk about right now, is that fear. Because it just seems like you just did it, whether you had done it before or whether you knew how to do it.
Right. So I landed in Hong Kong. So I was, I don't know, 22 years old, let's say 22, 23 years old. I was living in Manhattan. I was actually living in Brooklyn, working in Manhattan. And the New York Times would have, in the travel section, they'd have these list of converter flights. You know those? I don't know. I don't know what the deal was with those. Literally, Pan Am would list Korea $200, Kuala Lumpur $350. You know, like, where do you want to go? And Bali, right? It was all like crazy, under $500, and you could buy these tickets around the world, open-ended. Okay, so I tell my dad, call my dad up. I'm in, you know, Manhattan, and my job for this fashion company, and I'm like, Dad, I'm gonna go to Asia, and I'm gonna buy this open-ended ticket for $300 around the world for $300, open-ended for a year. And you know, he's like a doctor, researcher, diabetes scientist, you know, thinks I'm, you know, out of my mind. But I'm like, Dad, look, all I have to do is get myself there. And if I ever have any problems, I just get in a taxi and literally go to the airport. So I'm sitting in Manhattan thinking to myself, I'm going to get on an airplane, go to Taiwan. I'm going to chase this, you know, lead that I had from a professor in college who was going to get me an internship in the fashion, in the manufacturing industry, because I wanted to learn business. And I could just get myself, once I'm there, find a place to live, get this job. And once I'm there, if I have a problem, I get into a taxi, I go back to the airport and fly home. Like, where did that come from at 22 years old? I have no idea, but I did just that.
Okay, so this is really great right now for lots of reasons. One is, just to share a really quick story. I was an attorney. There's a point when I realized I didn't have to be an attorney anymore. I was in New York. I was in Manhattan, actually, and I was looking at different opportunities. And I had this vision that I had a ticket, an airplane ticket, and I could ride anywhere in the world in it. So,
Wow.
so I could just literally, it was like a vision from the heavens. So I know the feeling. Now, most people, including myself, get vertigo when they have too many options. And right now, in fact, I was working with one of our Commonwealth members, or talking to one of our Commonwealth members yesterday. And so many people right now, especially in this time of upheaval, they know they feel they need to make a change. They know they can make a change, but there's something in them that is scared or frightened or reticent about actually making that change.
I get it.
Yeah. So get it and unpack it for us, how it was for you and what you might be able to.
Well, like, yeah, so early on, I'm dating my husband, Chris, and my now husband, and we would be in front of, say, my grandfather, and he would say, you know what your problem is? And Chris would be like, what's my problem? And he would say, you have too many choices.
Yeah.
Too many choices. Like, because Chris would be, sitting there talking about all these amazing things we had done and these places we traveled and which business should we pursue and which person should we take money from? And, you have too many choices. Anyway, so we just like, I don't know, around every turn, we just like, whether we'd read a book or talk to many people and try to get different people's thoughts about it and then just take time and process and just make the decisions. I mean, we still do this now. Yeah, there is a lot of fear, right? You might lose money, you might lose friends. I mean, at 50 years old, I joined a direct sales company. And I don't know, it's possible I have alienated a lot of people in my life because of that. I know my sister, every year, she's like, wait, I thought you were going to quit that last year. No, I can't quit that. She's like, oh, you haven't quit that yet? You need to, quit that. Or even breastfeeding. You haven't stopped breastfeeding yet? Your kid's 4 years old, like, anyway, I don't know. I just, for some reason, have always, I don't know. It's a really good question. Live life on what's in my head and on my own terms. I don't know.
It's your authentic self too, Joelle. I mean, you have a courage that some of us share with you, and some of us can step into that in different areas of our lives. I can be more authentic. I can show up more as more of my authentic self in this area, maybe than in other areas. But that's something that I think is like really true of you. Like, what your convictions are, and you're not judgy at all, which is so great. Like I think there are very few people who would ever feel judged around you for like how you authentically live your life in a really beautiful way. But you step into that. Like, I know that you do. Like you.
Yeah. Yeah. I really appreciate that. I hate, oh gosh, judgment and all that. I hate that. But so like my reason for wanting to homeschool my kids was because I wanted them just to not be confined by those, I call them the 4 white walls of the building. Like, I just wanted them, we didn't travel. We didn't end up maybe doing the things that I thought were sort of idealistic. You actually did that, but I really just didn't want their minds to be confined. And I wanted us to, be able to say yes in situations where, yeah, I mean, many other people might not, like my sister, I feel like, she's one that she's in a job. She's, I would go out to the farm and I would get my food. I would go to a farm to get my milk or get my food. And I would sometimes drive when I lived in Michigan, like 30, 45 minutes. And she would just think that was the craziest thing, like, why would you go that far to go to that degree? Right? Why would you go to China to find what? Why would you go all the way to the farm? Why would you actually homeschool your kids? Why would you breastfeed your daughter till 5? I did the potty thing with her early on, my daughter. I just never wanted to just sit back and ride the wave. I always wanted to challenge myself. I wanted to see if it got better. I wanted to get out of my comfort zone. That was my goal at 50. And I'm throwing out a lot of things here now. It's
beautiful.
But at 50, I joined the direct sales company. Well, I mean, I didn't just join a direct sales company. There's a specific reason I joined, but I wanted to get out of my comfort zone. I wanted my kids to see me doing hard yet meaningful work at the time when I was asking them to get out of their comfort zone. So I guess, yeah, I mean, it's probably been a thing with me all my life, is getting out of my comfort zone, maybe a thing before I even realized it. But, you know, every turn that I've made, I've been rewarded. Like I took that job in fashion in New York City when I was 22 years old, and you guys would not believe my boss. I mean, I lucked out. And this was like not a fancy business. This was not a fancy high fashion company. This was a company that sold to like Seagulls. I don't even know if you remember, or Belks, you know, like to overweight people. Like we would sell these like tracksuits, but my boss made these people feel beautiful.
Mm.
And that was like the most beautiful thing to me.
So I want to follow up on that, because this is really critical. Because it's from one, just like you said something that kind of went fast, but I wanted to go back and I want to rewind to it. That you're not asking your kids to do anything you haven't done. You're modeling. I mean, that's critical, right? I just want to, if I had a gold star, I'd pin it on your forehead right now. I'll pin a virtual gold star.
It is critical. It's unbelievably, yeah, totally.
Well, good. I hit go with that, and then I'll go follow up my question. Why is that so important to you?
I've always been about modeling. And again, it was like the homeschool thing. It was like, you know, what do you want? You know, not just sit back and, okay, wait till you're 17 and you finish high school to start living your life, right? Like you're given a set of prescription, you know, it's a prescription. You do the school, right? You do the college, you do the job. I always wanted them to question authority, question everything. My mom, when I was, let's see, I was preparing to go to college, my mom was like, because I wasn't a straight A student. Studying wasn't my thing. I could sort of do it. I could play the game, but I didn't love it. And my mom was like, why are you going to college? Like you need to go travel the world. And, you know, I did in the end. I did go to college because I was actually afraid to not go to college. That was something, you know, and I did okay. And I think it was probably a great experience that I went to college. But anyway, it's just always been a thing with me, like my fear and not wanting my kids to experience that. I don't know. Maybe there's more I could say about that.
It's enough. But what I get inspired. So I don't live my life to model. I just live my life, right?
Right. Right.
Oh, I'm going to be the guy, or you're going to be the woman, or whatever. And when you said that you've been rewarded at every turn, that to me meant a ton, because being rewarded, I mean, I lost $1 million in a company, you know, I made $1 million in another company. I can't say every one of them was perfect, right? But the sense of, wow, I have made these leaps and I have seen the reward in every moment is just, I think it's such a powerful model for people who may not be born with the moxie that you had, or the fearlessness, or the, you know, what others would say, irresponsibility, or who knows, you know, whatever you package it at. And I just,
but at the end of the day, at every turn, if you feel like, so you made $1 million, you lost $1 million, but at the end of the day, you know, you built that successful business.
that's right.
You built it.
That's right.
And now you know you can build it. But what do you want to build next? What's your next thing? You know, so not maybe get caught up in the losing of $1 million. I don't know, that's a big thing, but like, how can you move on from there? So, you know, learning from our mistakes. And what is it, that saying that I've heard a little bit lately, forever onward, never backward, right? Like, I don't know, we only get one shot at life, man. Like, you know, we got to just take it and go with it, you know?
Yeah. I'd put a little finer point on it, and then which is that I honestly, I can turn the jewel and I can turn the other way. And I just think, oh my God, I am so grateful for every experience that has brought me to this moment, has made me who I am. And that, I think, is the fruit of the life that you've lived.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's why when, you know, people say, oh, you know, you've done that, you're good, move on, or, you know, quit that and, you know, figure something else out. I mean, I'm like, I could quit that, or I could not quit that and try to find another different direction to take it in, or, you know, because I'm just learning with every mistake I make, I'm just learning.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. And at times I do feel maybe it's a privilege though, you know, to be able to have health and to be able to live life on my own terms. You know, I'm not really worried about my next meal, you know, and the roof over my head. So I feel it is
Yeah.
a privilege in a way, but you know,
It's,
I want to keep believing that despite my age, because I do sort of feel like now my husband and I are getting to a point where it's the younger person's world, you know? So is there really, because we're always chasing that, you know, well, we want to do well, we want to do good. And if we're doing those things and we're raising our kids to have open minds and be healthy, then maybe that's good enough. But there is a part of us that's still always chasing that million. But I'm like, I don't know, is it possible for older people? And if I'm not playing that social media game, back to social media, I'm not great at social media. I'm not great at the video and putting myself out there. Can I still do it? So I am curious about this new world.
Yeah.
And can I do it?
Yeah, something you want to say, but I want to say something. I'm 15 years older than you. I'm just beginning, and they'll tell you that. You know, Rennie and Stace will tell you that's true. I honestly feel like I'm just beginning. There's something age and timeless. Is there a weariness? Sometimes do I feel those 68 years? Yeah, you know, I can't deny it, but I don't. I just feel honestly. I mean, it's rejuvenate. I just want to, you know, point out
No,
that
it's a beautiful thing. I love it.
there is a rejuvenation. This is what makes you go. I see you. That's what makes you go. That's what gets you going. That's what makes you young. And you know, one, to be able to acknowledge some of the weariness that we might feel, everyone feels, irrespective of their age, but to just see the regenerative power of what living the life that you've lived and that we're encouraging everyone to live.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm like, yeah, I keep saying I'm 53. I know, you know, age really, you know, ageism, it really doesn't matter. But like, I am, you know, throughout this pandemic, throughout my life, you know, I'm homeschooling, you know, life's messy, but like I'm getting up, I'm fixing my hair, I'm putting my makeup on, I'm walking my dog down the street, I'm saying hi to my neighbors. I'm asking them what they're up to. I want to know what people are up to, you know? I'm asking my young 30-year-old neighbor the other day to try my products. I mean, like, why? Why would she care? Why, you know, and where would the courage come in me to ask her to try my skincare products? Like, I don't know. I do not know where that comes from, but I'm like, okay, if I don't ask, it's an automatic no. And then what? I just go back in my house and I guess I could live my life and make my pot of soup, but I don't know. I just don't see the fun in that. Like, I like to get outside, you know,
make
I like
my
to
life
know.
and make my pot of soup.
Hey,
Yeah.
I do that. I do that
Walk my
well.
dog.
I do that well, believe me.
Oh, you
And,
do.
like,
I've had your soup. You make some amazing soup. But I just love that saying. Like, what else? I mean, we could fill it in with something else. You know, somebody might make a grilled cheese, but or a Friday sandwich.
what else
You know,
is there? You know, or you know, I don't necessarily live in a big, grandiose, beautiful home, but maybe you do. And what? You just go and live in your nice house.
yeah. Like, where's your life? Like, what are you doing? Not to be, and I so love this about you. Like, you're an inspiration. It's not a judgment. It's like, what are we doing and how are we doing it? And what does it mean? You know, where's the meaning in, because even the pot of soup reference, like, I know how intentional you are with the ingredients that
Oh
would
yeah,
go
that's a
into
whole
that pot
nother
of
road
soup.
we could go down.
Right,
for sure.
right, yeah, like, yeah. So it's not even like that's like lesser or something, like in the way that we were talking about it. And I think that is just really significant as far as the modeling goes, like how we're modeling our lives with our, you know, as parents. But then I think there's also this really cool piece of it for you and for some of us, where modeling actually becomes, I don't know if the word's like, it's more than that. Like, you and Chris started the accelerator school. And because of that, Eli, your son, got to travel the world and play soccer. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not like it was like, oh, mommy and daddy have to go do this work and blah, like, sorry, kid. It was like, dude, he benefited from your entrepreneurship in a huge way. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, let's see. I could just start and then we'll see where that goes. So yeah, the Duke men's soccer coach, he wanted more soccer for his son. That for them meant sending him away to an MLS like camp boarding school. And he didn't want to do that. He brought the idea to many, many people. And, you know, my husband is one who's been always thinking about education and how it really needs to change. The idea was floated past Chris and he was like, well, I can create the school part for you. And in 6 months, they just like put this thing together. There's 3 of them. And,
Wow.
you know, we thought, well, I don't know, you know, and first I was like, well, who starts a school? Okay, I can see starting businesses, but like who starts a school? What? So no, here we go. We're starting a school. And at the very, very minimum, our son gets to go to the school. This is a private school. This is not a school that we would necessarily, you know, have been able to pay for ourselves, but let's start this school. And yeah, sure enough, you know, there are a small group of people who realize the benefit of these kids getting together, following their passion, whether wherever they follow it, doesn't really matter, right? But follow it early on and travel the world and open their minds to the possibilities. And so in the school part of it, not the soccer part, but the school part, Chris brings in, you know, the 21st century skills, you know, that he calls that are so important, the skills that, you know, they're, you know, we believe might not be taught in school, really how to open your mind and see the possibilities for your life in a bigger, broader, deeper way. So yeah, it's been amazing. And our son actually complains about that he feels different, that he feels like, you know, being a thinker, he's been raised, he told us the other night, I've been raised to be a thinker and it's not helping me in my social life. You realize like I can't find, he has friends, but he acts in a different way, maybe around these, I don't know. Anyway, he's been raised to be a thinker, be a broader thinker.
So
And he told me a year and a half ago, he said, I was telling him, you know, I'm falling into this, you know, academic thing. Well, you know, plan B is you go to college, you know, because he wants to be a professional soccer player. And he said to me, you know, Mom, just so we're clear here, there is no plan B.
Wow.
I mean, I think he was 14 when he said that to me. And I was just stood there, it was like 8 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, okay, we're, you know, professional soccer player, you know, like to me, even to me, I'm like, nah, that doesn't really happen. You know, me who's like supposedly, you know, fearless, let's follow our dreams. But like, anyway, he's like, I'm going to be a professional soccer player. There is no plan B. Now he has to he has to jump through hoops, you know, the high school hoops to see some of that. So he is doing it a little bit, but anyway, he's not even tall enough. And he believes that he has this ability and he's going to follow his dream. And he's going to go to Europe. He's going to go to Europe, like maybe even next year, 16 and a half. He'll be 17 and a half. He thinks he's going to Europe next year, not even 18.
Okay, so. Talk about it. Dave said this, but it is in your DNA. Like his entrepreneurs, you know, like his spirit. I know you're in a little bit of denial, and maybe it's like you're really, like you mentioned, your old Jewish background, right. The original peddlers or whatever. And maybe it wasn't in your dad, but like Eli's showing up with that. He's your kid.
So now Eli is Jewish and Chinese. So can we talk some stereotypes here? Right?
I wouldn't want to
like,
negotiate.
I don't know.
I wouldn't want to negotiate the price of a bracelet with it. I could tell you that.
Watch out, world, man. Yeah. My daughter has that negotiating. She has that weird.
She has her own business. She has, right? She has an Etsy shop when she was like 12.
Yeah. She's like,
dude, it's in your DNA. I'm glad we resolved this.
I want to get my arms around this just for a minute and just because we're getting close to the end here, and there's a couple things I want to be sure I hit, because there's no end to this particular conversation. And I don't think, Joelle, this is the last conversation you and I are going to have. So one, I want you to talk about your businesses to make sure people know what you've put your spirit into, what you've created, and how they can work with that. And then I have one final, just batting practice fastball question for you. Okay. So tell us about your businesses, how people
Well,
can.
I do just want to talk about sales. So or just quickly, I never imagined myself a salesperson. Like I never imagined educating or selling myself, right? But I was presented with, okay, so basically for 30 years, you know, I have been pursuing health on another level. And basically, I think that there are harmful ingredients, whether all around us, in our furniture, in our products, in our foods, like we've been sold a bill of goods kind of thing. And 5 years ago, this company was presented to me as people linking arms to spread the message of what harmful ingredients are doing to health. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Like I've been saying that for, 25 years. And here's a bunch of people that want to get together and not only talk about it and tell people about it, but they want to change the laws. Change laws. Like, right? We don't, no cigarettes allowed on airplanes now, no lead in gasoline or paint now. Women got the right to vote. Like laws have been changed. Like, concerned citizens getting together and feeling concerned about an issue, moving a needle forward. Like, heck yeah, I'm going to join that.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I didn't, and I thought, well, I can't really sell products, but I got to join. It's a small amount of money to join. I have to join that effort. And early on, I remember talking to Stacy about like, well, okay, I joined, but like, now what do I say? I didn't even know what to say. But anyway, so I think that we are all salespeople. And I think that it's an extremely important skill to recognize that whether you're selling your dinner to your kids at night, or why we're going to the park and they don't want to go, or why you got to do your homework and you don't want to do your homework, selling to all the way to selling a product. Like we're all salespeople. Oh, and we want our kids, by the way, to grow up, finish high school, go to college, get a job, and they have to sell themselves. They have to sell themselves for the jobs that they're going to get in their whole life, sell themselves to their partners. So I believe that selling is like the skill that, like finances. So finances and skill, and a great book that I've always loved is Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Like, I really believe, this concept of passive income, not being afraid to talk about money, and knowing how to sell yourself are super important skills in anything that we do. So we started so many businesses. I don't know if you want to go back to that, like all the different businesses that we've started.
I actually have to wrap
But
I need to wrap up. So I want to know what people can buy from you now. Be the saleswoman now.
okay, so you guys are hilarious. Like, I want to talk about this book called Sicker, Fatter, Poor, by the chemicals, and you want to like know what products you can buy.
Exactly.
There you go.
You guys read that?
Okay, that is a vitamin C serum that we sell, and this product is amazing for your skin. It is without harmful ingredients, and it is packed with only the ingredients that our skin needs. And it's got a form of vitamin C that is easily absorbed in our skin, and it is not with fillers. So we sell products. So, okay, so I know we got to go soon. In Europe bans 1,400 ingredients, but yet they make products. They make things in life that are around our homes and our bodies that are without the harmful ingredients. So we wanted to see if it could be done here. And so we started a trend for that. And we have great skincare and personal care products that are doing that. We're educating and we're advocating for safer laws. And in California, we've made some progress in that, and some laws have been changed recently. They're banning 24 harmful ingredients. And so
And what's the name of the company? How can they find your products?
It's called Beauty Counter, and count it is in like being a pushback to the beauty industry. Counter pushback to the beauty industry.
Okay.
Beautycounter.com. We are straight up e-commerce. We do have independent consultants, but we like to meet the consumer where they want to shop. We sell products in Sephora. We used to sell products in Target and through Goop. And yeah, it's straight up e-commerce. Beautycounter.com. If you want to find me, Joelle Permutt, you can, and credit me for the sale. And I do. One thing I have found with Beauty Counter that I had no idea I would find is that talking to people about their skin is very intimate.
Yes.
And I love that. So for me, I'm not really selling a product. I am connecting with a person and finding out about their skin, what they like about their skin, what they don't like about their skin, what they like about products. It is so telling about a person. So I really like to go that deep with people and talk about their skin. And at the same time, yeah, I'm also going to talk about what's in your shaving cream and what's in your deodorant. And once that product leaves your body, those chemicals actually leave your body, what is the lasting harm that those chemicals did to your body? And I really believe that health is the baseline of what we all have, because if we don't have health, how are we going to get out of our house every day and feel good and meet people where we need to be meeting people? So for me, it's really all about health. And it's been all about health for me for like 30 years.
One of the things
and that is something that my kids it's driving them crazy, but I can't stop talking about it.
Yes, you can, because we have to, unfortunately.
Okay.
For now, just for now. We'll talk again tomorrow.
So
okay.
there's a connection we want to make. We had an entrepreneur of color on who has a skin line very similar to, and that's a great. I'm gonna put you guys together, and
that'd be wonderful.
You two are from the same planet, just different mother and genetic lines. So I have a ton of other. Remind me if I forget when. It's not you, but I have a ton of other questions, but we do need to go, and I would again just tell you it's been such, because what I really want to talk with you about more than interview is just like what we tell. I'm not, don't answer this question, okay? I'm going to ask if you're not allowed to answer it. Is what we tell people who don't have what we have in terms of like, what the hell? Let's do it. I have to do it, but still know they have to do it. And I think more than anything, it's just the model of what you're doing, more so than any words we can say that, hey, when I'm 53, I want to grow up to be her or someone. I want to grow up to be my version of her. And that's what I want to acknowledge. And thank you for being and for bringing everybody here today. So thank you all.
Thank you, Joelle.
Thanks for setting this up. Stacy, thanks for bringing the world. Joelle, thanks for being you. And I'm glad I found a sister on this planet that I want to see more of. And I would invite you all next week. Again, if you're interested in our Commonwealth group, there's information posted on our site. And Minnie, just take us away and we'll go.
All right.
Thank you.
Oh, so just real quick, the Commonwealth is tomorrow. The Commonwealth is tomorrow at noon. If you need a guest pass, we're doing guest passes. Joelle will hang out with us. We'll have a big group meeting. We'll break out into small groups. We have amazing questions and we have time to explore them together. So if you're not already signed up for the Commonwealth, first of all, just sign up with us because it's awesome. But if you need a taste, if you need an appetizer, then we've got a free pass for you for tomorrow. Let me know, Rennie, Dave, let us know and we'll hook you up.
Right. And we'll post information about that on the site right after this in terms of how you can get a guest pass for that. So just somebody remember to do what I promised we're going to do. Okay.
It's actually on the site already.
Oh, great. Of course.
Pass was posted a couple days ago. So
the trains run on time now and we don't have an Italian dictator. So that's the best of both worlds. All right, everyone. Thanks a lot. Joelle, stick around for a sec here while we go up. Okay. So